Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into a dramatic naval episode. $270 million gone. Ukraine sinks Russia's newest Buyan-M missile ship in the Black Sea. Whether that dollar figure is precise or symbolic, the incident underscores a bold escalation in maritime strike warfare, and it raises questions about naval strategy, technology, and geopolitics. Let's break it all down: how this likely happened, why it matters, and what it suggests about the future of naval conflict. This story revolves around a Russian Buyan-M class missile corvette project 21631, a platform built to carry Kalibr cruise missiles often used by Russia for long-range strikes. These ships are designed to be relatively small and maneuverable so they can operate in shallow or coastal waters, the river, sea concept making them useful in seas like the Black Sea or Azov. At the same time, their missile load gives them punch well beyond their size. In late August 2025, reported August 28, Ukraine's Defense Intelligence (HR) announced a joint operation targeting one such Buyan-M in the Azov Sea, near Crimea. According to Ukraine, the attack involved at least 2 synchronized drone strikes, one aimed at damaging the ship's radar system and another hitting the ship's side or missile launcher directly. The radar disruption would reduce the ship's ability to detect and defend itself. The second strike would disable or damage its offensive capability. The Russians acknowledged damage but offered little detail. Ukraine claims the ship was forced to abandon its patrol zone because it could no longer function reliably in combat. That withdrawal is meaningful even if the ship remains afloat. Losing the ability to project force in that area is a serious setback. Now, is the $270 million figure accurate? It's hard to verify. While that number is plausible for a modern missile corvette with its combat systems, arms analysts often place estimates for such ships in the tens to hundreds of millions, depending on systems, weapons, electronics, and support equipment. The headline may use the figure for dramatic effect, but it reflects how costly modern naval platforms are and how destructive losing one can be to a naval force. Let's examine why this strike matters strategically, tactically, and politically. First, it shows how drones and precision targeting are transforming naval warfare. A small, well-timed drone strike that hits critical systems like radar or missile launchers can neutralize a powerful ship without requiring massive missile volleys or carrier strike groups. Ships are no longer near invulnerable just because they have armor or missile defenses. In coastal or semi-enclosed seas, attackers with drones or missiles have opportunities to strike high-value targets. The Ukraine maneuver epitomizes asymmetric naval warfare, where cheaper, agile systems offset big naval assets. Second, the strike reduces Russia's effective missile strike capacity in that theater. Buyan-M ships are used to fire Kalibr missiles against targets inland, their tools of power projection from the sea. Damaging or disabling one reduces that capability and forces Russia to reposition ships further from the coast or rely on less optimal platforms. Russia has already relocated parts of its Black Sea fleet to avoid being vulnerable in Crimea. Each such hit shrinks the operational envelope. Third, there's a psychological and symbolic blow. Losing or disabling a modern warship, even if not fully sunk, saps confidence both within the military and publicly. It sends a message to Russia's leadership and naval planners that even their newer, stealthier ships are vulnerable. It also boosts Ukrainian morale and demonstrates capability. In a prolonged conflict, those symbolic impacts matter. There are, however, caveats and uncertainties. For one, independent verification of the full extent of damage is limited. Media outlets note that Ukraine released video footage, but external confirmation is difficult. Russia's public statements have been vague or non-committal, as is typical. Furthermore, sinking in the headline may exaggerate. More accurate descriptions suggest damage and forced withdrawal rather than total loss. If indeed the ship is repairable, Russia may repair it, but that requires dockyard access, time, and resource allocation under wartime constraints. Also, using drones to hit naval targets depends heavily on intelligence, timing, and surprise. The ship would need to be in range, exposed, and not fully protected by air cover, electronic warfare, or escort ships. That suggests Ukraine executed good reconnaissance, planning, and coordination. It also suggests Russia may have been complacent or underestimated the threat in that sector. So what are the implications going forward? 1. Naval forces must invest far more heavily in defensive systems, advanced radar, electronic warfare, point, defense missiles, and drone countermeasures. Stealth or small size alone may not suffice when adversaries use swarms of drones and low-signature munitions. 2. The balance of power in littoral zones may further tilt toward powers that can use drones, missiles, and asymmetric tactics. Traditional large fleets might be best deployed farther offshore, and smaller agile vessels or unmanned vessels might dominate close to shore. 3. Naval deterrence becomes more fragile. If a single corvette can be disabled by drones, then the deterrent value of showing off fleets weakens. That could provoke greater emphasis on deny/defend strategies rather than power projection. 4. Operations in contested seas will demand more complexity. Ships will need layered defenses, tighter situational awareness, and likely escorts or aerial cover. Commanders will want better counter-drone tactics and flexible deployment patterns to minimize exposure. From a geopolitical angle, this reinforces that Ukraine and its partners are innovating under pressure, rapidly adapting. It also signals to other countries watching naval warfare that even expensive modern warships are vulnerable in contested zones. We can't ignore historical context. Russia has already suffered naval losses in this conflict. The Moskva, the flagship of the Black Sea Fleet, was sunk after a missile strike by Ukraine in 2022. That precedent showed that even larger, more heavily armed vessels are not safe. The current incident, even if smaller scale, follows the same logic, striking systems that matter rather than engaging in full naval battle. In short, the $270 million headline might be rhetorical, but the core is real. Ukraine's reported strike on a Buyan-M class missile ship shows the evolving nature of naval warfare in the 21st century. Small platforms, drones, and precision targeting are reshaping power at sea. Russia risks having to retreat deeper or commit more assets to defense. Ukraine gains both a tactical victory and a signal to the world. Its capability to strike at sea is improving. At the end of the day, whether the ship is irrecoverably lost, temporarily disabled, or repaired, the message is clear. No vessel is beyond reach when drones, intelligence, and planning come together. The seas around Ukraine, Crimea, and the Black Sea will remain contested, and each engagement will carry outsized significance. If you enjoyed this deep dive, stick around. There are more naval developments ahead, and I'll keep tracking them with you.